hit ceilings, and it's kind of clear that like, I'm stuck. And usually the thing that like moves that stuckness out of the way is me expanding my sort of scarcity or lack of scarcity mindset. So every time I do that work on myself, I get through another milestone, and that milestone is impact on other people. It's, you know, growth of my own businesses. It's growth of me as a person.
All right. If you feel like there's just never enough, you may have a scarcity mindset, and that mindset may be holding you back from experiencing an abundant life. But you know what? That is okay, because this is the reset. This is the place where we reset and start again. And I'm Letitia Berry-Ola. I'm a life and career coach, and I'm here to help you, help us all start again, reset our thinking, and break out of that cycle of scarcity. Jump into the world of infinite possibilities. And with me today is Tara Reid. I'm super excited to introduce her to you. You may have already heard of her before because she's really wise, she's super successful, and she's gonna show us how to break out of this cycle. Tara Reid is the CEO and founder of the multi-million-dollar tech startup Apps Without Code. The company teaches people how to come up with app ideas and build them without writing any code. Her company has trained over 150,000 entrepreneurs across 14 countries in building their own apps and app-based businesses. But even more noteworthy than all of this, okay, is that 80% of her clients are women and people of color, helping to close the tech industry's gender and minority gap. So she gets really personal with us and shares how she has overcome a scarcity mindset, how it showed up in her life. I mean, she tells a story about making $100,000 in 1 week, okay? And in that same week, kind of like freaking out about getting her nails done, and it was just too expensive. Like, that's when she realized, okay, I may need to look at how I'm thinking about money, how I'm thinking about resources. She also shares the strategies she uses to this day, even with a multi-million-dollar company, to break out of that mindset. She tells me it's a journey. She's always working on it, and how to make space for abundance. Y'all, I could have talked to her for an hour. We try to keep it short to give you everything you needed to change the way you think today. Like, this is something you can work on now, okay? Pop in your AirPods, sit back. You know, you can multitask, whatever it is, but just listen clearly to how she has overcome and continues to live with an abundant mindset. Okay, here's our conversation. I know our audience is familiar with you at this point, and I think it's such a testament to your hard work and to just who you are, because your name pops up in circles that, you know, from Rachel Rodgers to Danielle Leslie to your own stuff. And so I'm so happy to have a few minutes with you. And we're talking about scarcity mindset. And I was telling you, as the CEO, the founder of a multi-million-dollar tech startup, a Black woman, right, in this sea of white faces and men, right? Here you are with a huge success story. And it's like, you mean to tell me that you have dealt with scarcity mindset? So can you first start off by telling us, like, what have you had to work through when it comes to scarcity mindset in your world?
Yeah. Okay. So I remember the first time I was aware that I had scarcity mindset. So I was running my second business. I was maybe like a year or so into running my second business. And I had a week where I made $100,000 in revenue in that week. And the weekend came and there were like things that I needed to get done, like on my to-do list. One was getting my nails done. And I thought, oh, wait, I can't get my nails done because I want to get a cute design on my nails and it's going to cost too much money. So that was when I was aware that there was a problem here.
People make 100,000 in a year. Okay. You made it in a week.
Yes. And I'm worried about getting my nails done, which made absolutely no sense. It made no sense at all. And I had to have a conversation with myself, like, girl, we got to get this together. This is a problem. You're here in this particular mindset and you're not going to be able to get much further without breaking through this mindset.
Yeah. So you became aware yourself. Like, you heard your thoughts and were like, wait a second, this is a little crazy. I just made a lot of money and I'm not trying to spend $80, right?
Yeah, and we all have those things that are maybe at different scales, but they're just like not logical, right? There's something for you to be able to enjoy, and the whole reason you're working is for you to enjoy it, but you're in this like scarcity
Yes.
mindset. I can't, I'm not gonna have enough.
Yes. Where do you think it showed up for you? Like, how did that seed get planted in you to have that mindset?
Yeah, great question. I think like growing up, it was always super important to like work hard, right? And I think that like as people of color, we often get this message about like all you've got to do is just like work hard and do more work. And I don't think that's bad, but I think that what happens is like this alignment to like my value is in my work, and I've got to like then hoard what I've got and like all those things, right? I also grew up like with parents who just from the generation that they were from, right? They were just much more like, we've got to conserve things. You don't throw anything away. You always got to save something and be creative
Wow.
about it. And so, like, that's what they learned for survival. And some of those things are very true. But I think, like, just subconsciously, I took on some of those things from my parents and what worked for them. And so, when I got clear that I had a problem, I decided to go work on it. And I actually did something called hypnotherapy to help me with my scarcity mindset.
Oh, well, you can't stop there. Tell us what that is. Like, kind of explain what
Okay.
hypnotherapy is and how it ended up working for you when it comes to scarcity
Okay.
mindset.
Okay. So typically when people think about hypnotherapy, they think about like the person's like, you're getting sleepy, dangling stuff. It's not like that. So it's just a guided meditation that has a specific purpose. So what happens is like the guards that are standing at the door of your subconscious, they go on break. And so you're able to work on things on a subconscious level because
Mhm.
you could be conscious that you have scarcity mindset, but that doesn't mean that your subconscious isn't running on autopilot anyway. You know it's a problem, you just can't stop it.
Mm.
And so that's what hypnotherapy allows you to do and sort of work on that subconscious stuff. Sometimes in my meditation state that's guided by hypnotherapists, sometimes I need to go back to 5-year-old Tara and ask her what she needs to hear from me in order for her to go on break on this topic because a 5-year-old's logic is no longer useful here.
Wow.
Sometimes it's more abstract, and it's like me imagining the like energy of money, whatever that is, and sort of getting comfortable with that. But that's what it looks like when you do hypnotherapy.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, like, what did you find back there? Right. Because the mind is so fascinating to me and there's all these layers and so much we don't know. That's a
Yes.
whole other conversation. I may need to get you back
Yeah.
to talk about that. Like, what did you find in there? Um,
Yeah.
but I love that you took this approach to it because it's a reminder to us all that it's a deep seated, and we say mindset kind of so loosely, but it really is an actual way of thinking that is deeply rooted in how we behave. So,
Yeah.
how did you know that that scarcity mindset was starting to shift into maybe having more of an abundant mindset?
Yeah. So, like, what did I see in my life? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
like how did
asking?
you realize, oh,
Yeah.
wait, I'm not afraid to get my nails done anymore? Or like what was happening where you were suddenly embracing like abundance rather than scarcity?
Yeah, so the way that I knew that there was a difference and I was sort of stepping into this more was really about my lack of anxiety. And I want to preface this by saying that like I'm always working on this. It's not like I'm like check, done, did it. I still have work that I do on my scarcity mindset, my relationship with abundance, because there's levels to it. It's not just
Mm,
one level. It's really like a video game and there's different levels that you're trying to
yeah.
ascend and work through. And so it all the levels though are really like a decrease in my anxiety when it comes to money, when it
Yeah.
comes to abundance.
Yeah.
Scenarios where I would be really anxious before and now I'm just a lot more calm and like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We'll put together a plan. I'm okay. Those sorts of scenarios.
Yeah. This reminds me of, a simple definition sort of around scarcity mindset is that like there's not enough for everybody. Like there's
Yes,
scarce resources. There's not going to be enough
yes,
for me. And one thing that I have learned to do is kind of look around at the universe, like just bear with me, everyone, but I'm gonna talk with the universe and God for a second. But it's
yeah.
like to look around at the abundance in which like the world was
Mm,
created, right? There's a river I'm looking at in front of me, this vast sky,
yes,
beautiful trees. Like it's not, I don't live in a scarce environment, like Earth, universe, the
Mhm.
stars, we can't even count them. And that reminded me that, like, oh, I'm a daughter of, like, God, I also inherited this. Like, why do I think I can only have a
Yeah.
slice of the pie? So I
Yeah.
would love to hear like your like sort of your philosophy around why we should think that we have access to abundance. Like it's okay.
Yeah. So the thing about I want to say wealth, but I don't mean wealth just as money. There's lots of ways that you can
Yeah.
be wealthy and health and all those things. And really like the exchange of this stuff is circular, right? Like you flow it out and it flows back in. You pay money for something and then you also make money. And so there's this flow two ways. And so I think that the way that I think about it is like a flow and exchange as opposed to a thing I need to hoard. Because typically what I find is when I'm in like scarcity hoarding mode, I don't have lots of opportunities coming my way because I'm not ever flowing anything out.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
so if I sort of change how I think about it as like a flow, as this like thing that I'm friends with, that I can sort of like, we're doing things together. We're going to invest in something here and then we're going to bring something back here. If I think about it more like that, I feel like my brain has more space to like understand what it looks like to not be in scarcity.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about like being generous and being like
Yeah.
being generous, not like freely giving. Yes, we're not saying like just like give everything away and expect everything, but it's
No.
being generous with your own resources and expecting in return that there's going to be a flow. That's so
Yes.
opposite to what scarcity and holding on to. It's like holding on to your one
Yeah.
little thing and not being generous with it. Like it's just going to be
Yeah.
yours, fine, you know?
Generous and also investing in yourself. I think it looks like those two different ways too. And I remember there was a point in my entrepreneurial career where I had so many friends that were just like passing me in business. And they were passing me. I had to look and be realistic that they were passing me because they were investing in themselves. They weren't in scarcity mindset. They were like, here's what I'm going to do to grow myself. Here's what I'm going to go learn. Here's what I'm going to go get, feedback from and grow myself in that way. And that's one way to sort of have the flow moving too. And so it's being generous to other people and also investing in yourself.
Yes. I want to end with this final question. And I'm curious what you think about, like, you are super successful. And I wonder, do you think that having this mindset played a role in contributing to your success? As I mean, your stats, I shared your stats with everyone before this
Yeah.
started, right? So it's like the fact that you're spreading and lives are being changed and money is being exchanged and all of that. Does this mindset contribute to that success?
Oh, absolutely. Because what happens is I hit ceilings and it's kind of clear that like, I'm stuck. And usually the thing that like moves that stuckness out of the way is me expanding my sort of scarcity or lack of scarcity mindset. So every time I do that work on myself, I get through another milestone. And that milestone is impact on other people. It's, growth of my own businesses. It's growth of me as a person, right? So I see it every time I get stuck. I feel like, oh, I don't know what to do. And usually using that trigger of doing that work of expanding my scarcity mindset then is the thing that takes me to the next level.
I didn't realize this was like one of your value, like one of your pillars, one of the
Yeah.
things that grounds you. Like I saw that you have, an opinion about it and you've gone through it, but my goodness, this is something that you operate in working on this. Sounds like daily.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of it as almost like I'm playing a video game of sorts with myself and I'm just trying to work on myself to get to the next space. And
Yeah.
most of the ceilings that we hit are you being in your own way. And so I know it's my job to like have a practice of getting out of
Girl.
my own way.
Listen, you just set a lot of people free. You just set me free right now. Get out of your own way and do that by going into your thoughts, analyzing how you're thinking. You don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily do it how you did it, but my gosh, I'm
No.
going to look into that. Like, I need to ask my therapist, can you do this? Because really quick, is that a like a certification I imagine that therapists need to have?
It's separate than a traditional therapist. So hypnotherapy is its own practice and
Okay.
work. Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay tuned for a convo about that, everyone, at the reset. But until then, Tara, thank you for sharing your wisdom. You've experienced things, you've gained knowledge, and now you're applying that to your life and you're blessing us with it. So thank you so much, Tara.
Thanks so much for having me.